Thanks for the support as a channel member, Michael Angood. Folks, it is transfer special time. Maybe a new club? We've done back-to-back promotions. Anything can happen at this point. I didn't expect to necessarily be at Kettering this long. Hello and welcome to part 19 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, it is our season review and transfer special following our back-to-back promotion with Kettering. We are now a Football League team. We are on the verge of going professional. We got 100 points last year, and as it stands at the moment, I still don't think there's anybody interested in hiring me as manager. No, I'm not wanted by anybody, and you can see I am finally studying for a coaching badge again. The board have been very reluctant throughout my time here to fund such a thing, but I think we're now reaching the point with £650,000 in the bank that we can actually start throwing a little bit of money around. People like old Kev. So I've had a few people say, where's all the money come from with Kettering? Nothing special, really. I just think because wages are lower in FM21 than they were in FM20, it's a lot harder to lose loads of money. I think the default for lower league, non-league teams in last year's game was, as a default, you run at a loss, whereas I think this year, what I'm seeing so far with Kettering at least, and also in my Twitch save with FC Isle of Man, is as a default, you kind of run at a profit and you have to do something spectacularly dumb to lose a lot of money. And we haven't done anything dumb. You can see gate receipts wise, we brought in £1 million. That was our biggest income this year, with a total income of, 1.8 million over the course of the season, up from £1 million the year before. Whereas expenditure, we spent 1.4 million. Our wage budget is only 400,000. Okay, if you include staff wages. So staff wages on there as well. We're looking at 610,000 on wages against an income of 1.4 million. If you're paying less than half your gate receipts out in wages, everything else is going to balance and we're going to be absolutely fine. So that's where the money's come from. It's not from anything in particular. We've not sold a player. We've not had any big investments. We've just been sensible financially. Even last year, we had a budget of like £13,500–14,000 a week, and we're spending less than 10,000 on wages. I don't know I don't know what's happened to me. What's going on? It's all change. But it's good. It means we've got a little bit of money in the bank. We've got a little bit of a cushion to allow us to go professional. Maybe at some point, tart up the ground a little bit. That'd be nice. But let's hit continue a couple of times to get to our season review. Then once we've done that, we'll have a look through our plans for the summer. Ramshaw's retiring, by the way, this summer. So at the very least, we're going to need a new assistant manager. In yesterday's episode, you met the players that are coming in already. And there's still going to be a big bunch of money left to try and bring in a few more Football League veterans and see how that turns out for us, assuming we're still here, because that's the thing. At any point this summer, I could be offered a job in League One or the Championship even, on big money, and decide to go. I think it's going to take a lot for me to go to another League Two club though. So we will wait and see. Let's do our season review. So these are the players that came in last summer. As you can see, the ones that played a lot, definitely you'd consider them a success. Mayunga, Hobson, Agbon Tahoma, Alfie Payne, Connor Stanley, Taylor Crossdale, all with very good average ratings. We also got quite a few games out of Iqbal. Jeremy McKendy, I'm surprised to see his rating as low as he is. That suggests inconsistency because he scored 16 goals for us from the wing with 5 assists. So to have 21 goal contributions in 38 games, to me, he should be averaging more than a 6.96. So on those games he's not involved in goals, clearly everything else isn't going particularly well for him. Exactly the same story, really, for Terrell Whitaker, who's also got 21 goal contributions on 34, but an even lower rating. Max Robson is young and will hopefully get better. 11 assists for him is still a very good contribution to us going forwards. And then there's a few other players that are probably more fringe players that we're more likely to move on. The likes of Stewart, O'Brien, Brzezowski, Estrada. I don't know how much you're going to see of these guys next year, but on the whole, I think it was a successful summer for transfers. Results-wise, we were supposed to finish top half. We won the league. We had an average attendance of 1,700 people, which for us is very, very good. Obviously, Slavy Spazov, a big part of our success with 40 goals. We're not able to sign him permanently. He did sign a contract extension with Oxford. So we'll try to get him on loan again. Should we try right now to get him on loan again? We might actually get him on loan again. Maybe we'll get him on loan again, which would be lovely. But if we can't, then we're obviously going to need to replace him. If we can, happy days. Back to back to back. Here we come. Moments to remember. A 7-2 win over Hartlepool is insane. Goal of the season going to Whittaker, but it's still not clickable. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Finances we've already gone through separately, and the financial situation, it's all looking positive and on the way up. Sponsorships have more than doubled. TV revenue has, corporate has, prize money has, commercial revenue, match day money, it's all increasing. Our biggest shirt sellers, McKay, Iqbal, Stanley, Taylor Crossdale and Roos. Surprised not to see an Alfie Payne in there or Spasov, but McKendy's an interesting one. Connor Stanley, I would expect. Taylor Crossdale, certainly as the season has gone on, I would have expected. But it is interesting to not see Spasov on there. And this is our team of the year. Brozowski in goal. And back four of Dunn, Senior, Mayunga and Malden. Wooten and Payne in midfield. McKendy, Robson and Stanley behind Spasov up front. I don't think you can really argue with that as a team of the year. You could say put Spasov back there and put Taylor Crossdale in up front. But I did that from the start maybe 3 times. We often switched to it mid-game in the second half of the season, but we rarely started with it. And I don't know, Wooten, I've got a few question marks over as well in there, but I think what that's telling me is we probably need a proper central midfielder, a proper box-to-box central midfielder to complement Alfie Payne for the coming season. Likewise, a proper right-back, because Ted Malden, he's given us 2 good years, but he is ultimately a centre-back playing at right-back. And we probably need to have a more permanent right-back solution now. I'm talking of permanence, Senior and Dunn, of course, are 2 other players who are in on loan. So we'll try and extend their loans again, because they've been 2 key players. But if we can't, we're potentially in a situation where we have to bring in an entirely new defence, which we've got the money. It'll be fun. We certainly don't need much adding to the attack, that's for sure. Records-wise, Spasov finished as Player of the Year. He also got Young Player of the Year. Signing of the season has gone to Mayunga, and Whittaker getting Goal of the Season. Top scorer was Spasov. Most assists goes to Dunn. Says centre-back. We always play him at left-back, but 19 assists either way is a very good return. Spasov also getting most man of the matches and the highest average rating at 7.5. Plus there's records being broke, and this one isn't going to be broken for a while, I don't think, or probably ever. Most league goals in a season, 40, especially if Kettering stay in the Football League. That's not getting beaten, surely. He also set the new club record for goals in a match and most man of the match awards. And youngest goal scorer goes to Terrell Whittaker at 18 years, 257 days. Spasov also winning National League Player of the Year and National League top goal scorer. It's fair to say Slavy Spasov, who is now a full Bulgarian international, he's quite good at football. And why Oxford are not looking to build a team around him, I don't know. But I'm very happy to capitalise on that oversight on their part. Is that it? Have we gone through the entire season review stuff? I think we have. Yeah, there we go. Boom, done. That's just the overall best 11. So Colin must start. He still does in the best 11, Evelyn. Don't worry. And no one else really from Phoenix Patterson is in from the previous year. Let's see how he's got on, because he went to play for Walsall in League 2. Played a few games early on and very quickly dropped out of the team, as you would expect. He's not a Football League player, but it's nice to see him in the team of the year. And Levan Brandy was excellent for us last year. We sent him out on loan to Nuneaton. Not so much of a good season in the Conference North this year. And if his contract's up, which I assume it is, expect to see him leave this summer. So season review stuff, obviously we did well. I love that chart because we've gone way over the National League average for everything. You can see we're particularly good at generating chances and scoring goals off the back of them. And we also concede more goals than the average, but we're better at passing, better at tackling. We're just better at everything. We're better at attacking and better at being bad at defending. This chart, I'm learning what the charts mean. So we had a quiet, leaky defence and an aggressive, clinical attack. I think that describes my entire Football Manager career. That little description there, don't expect that to change as we move clubs, as we move through the series. Leaky defence and aggressive clinical attack. That's my hallmark. So this is the new club vision stuff. Is there actually anything that's been added on here new? The only new thing that's been added is build a new stadium. That's interesting. That's the sort of thing that encourages me to maybe want to stick around at a club to see how it pans out. So at some point in the next year, building a new stadium. They just want me to fight bravely against relegation this coming year and then establish the club as a League Two team over the next 5 years. That shows less ambition for me. I like this. I'm not spending the next 5 years as a League Two manager, though. So they're going to have to back me to push on further if they want to be able to keep me at the club. We'll see how that pans out over the course of the summer. We'll just tell the team what we're looking for next year, which is that we're going to fight against relegation. That's what the board have just told us. I'm optimistic that we can avoid relegation. That's disappointed most of them. I think we have no chance of beating the drop. Fine, fair enough. We'll deal with that when they all come back from their holiday. Hopefully they'll have forgotten everything by then. Oh, will we still going? I'm trying to leave the meeting. That didn't go well, did it? I'll just blame it all on John because he's on his way. This is the end of season team report. So this is our best team going into next season, apparently. Acceleration, pace, goals, and plenty of money, and some good youngsters. Lots of positives. Weaknesses in the squad. We don't really have a defensive midfielder, which is fine. We don't use one. We're not great in the air, and don't have much in the way at right back. So it's certainly indicating a new defence, maybe a new goalkeeper is in order. These are the things that I was already thinking. So it's good to see that that's pretty much backing up what I thought we needed to do anyway. End of season break, and that's I've won manager of the year. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And if we dive into the team report, I think we're just going to get further confirmation of what we already know. Can we set this to show players that are on the way in? Because we have got obviously a few transfers already coming in, notably Kian Breckin, who's going to come in and be a key part of the new look midfield. Ollie Turner as well, potentially coming in as your partner for Alfie Payne. So some of those vacancies that we had look like they're already getting filled by the new players coming in. And at the back, Shay Charles and Reece Bennett potentially coming in as our new centre-backs, indicating that maybe we don't need to offer Adam Senior or Joe Dunn loan extensions, because actually, looking at this, neither of them are going to be first choices in their position next year. We've got Luke Chambers coming in as a left-back for us. It's a lot of faith we're showing to our scouts by making this decision. But I think these boys all arrive before they leave, so we can always offer them loan extensions a little bit later if we have to. So for now, we've offered one to Spasov. We'll hold fire there. We'll join back up with you again when the new signings arrive on the 3rd of June. And then it's all about waiting for free transfer day. Okay, I wasn't expecting ground stuff to happen immediately. They said next 5 years, and 20 minutes later, they're in. The Kettering board have announced that the club has been granted planning permission to build a new stadium. Construction of the imaginatively named Kettering Stadium will cost 2.8 million. There's a loan of 1.7 million that's gone towards it, plus funding from a stadium sponsorship deal of $250,000 and a grant of 1.1 million from the local authority. So nothing's coming out of our budget or our bank balance, which is nice. It's going to be a 5,000 capacity stadium. Doesn't say what the split between seats and standing is. Hopefully we've got some nice standing areas. And that's going to be complete by next summer, 29th of June, 2023. So that kind of thing, it really, I am thinking, one more year? In the meantime, we're going to the PTS Academy Stadium, and because Latimer Park isn't suitable for League Two requirements, where on earth is the PTS Academy Stadium? Oh, it's Cobblerville. We're in the Sabutio Stadium. See, this, as a Peterborough fan, makes me much less likely to want to stick around. This is hideous. At least we're now the biggest team playing in Northampton, but oh, that's dirty. This is as bad as when Home moved to Milton Keynes. I don't think I can cope with managing out of Sixfields for a year. Couple of bits of striker news. The loan extension for Slavy Spasov is confirmed. He's in for another year. Reasons to stay. We've also signed a striker, Benny Ashley Seal. I think he basically came free with the move to Northampton because he's a former Northampton player. Who has never played for them, but he did score 14 goals out on loan at Dartford last season. He's apparently as good as Spasov. We'll wait and see, but he's coming in and will be joining us with the rest of the new boys on the 3rd of June. But most significantly of all, the board have offered me a new contract. I might have to get a new house over in Northampton. How far is Kettering from Northampton? But a 2-year contract extension on £1,300 a week. This is big, and it's big for 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is that obviously it's a big pay rise for me, which means a nice big house, that kind of thing. But also, if I've newly signed a contract with Kettering, other clubs are much less likely to come in for me. And I kind of have to make a decision here. Do I want to sign the new contract, or am I ready to move on? I'm happy in what I'm doing. They're building a new ground. They're backing me. They've given me money to spend. Why wouldn't I sign the new contract? So this might be ruling us out of a new job this summer, which I think I'm quite comfortable with. This is taking a very different shape to a normal non-league to legend. I'm going to try and squeeze as much money out of them as possible. It's not going well, so let's just accept what they've offered me. But 1.3k a week, that's, what is that? Maths time. Maths with Kev. I'm not going to try and do it in my head. £1,300 a week times 52. £67,500 a year. And we've got to go and play out of Northampton. It's time for a house hunt, boys and girls. We'll go and do that in just a second. We'll just check in on the rest of this stuff as well. And what was that? A new away kit sponsor. And scouting budget-wise, how much have we got? 33,000. I guess we go spend the scouting budget there then. Let's go and find a nice new house in Northampton. So first step, of course, is finding out how much we can borrow. And based on my new salary of £67,600, good old Halifax, other mortgage calculators are available, not sponsored, but they would lend me up to £321,100. Obviously, deposit needed on top, but we get that through the sale of the previous house. People often say, does Kev forget he still owns another house when he moves? No, I'm either selling it or renting it out. Either way, we're good. We can borrow the full amount on a new house. It's fine. So let's look for stuff in the region of 320,000 in the Northampton area. What we really want is something about halfway between Northampton and Kettering. So we're good for this year and we're good for next year when we move back to the new ground. If I'm still here then, maybe somewhere quite close to a motorway too. So if I do leave, I can get out quickly. So looking at what's available in and around the Northampton area, I've said Northampton or 10-mile radius, because a 10-mile radius, if we look on this little map here, a 10-mile radius includes Kettering. So we're looking for something in this kind of area. So north of Northampton, somewhere around Kettering or one of these villages around it, would be absolutely spot on. These all look Little London. Where's Little London? I can't see Little London on this map. It looks like they've got a good selection of chairs. Do we get a mini map on here so we can see which side of Northampton we are? Open map. And this one is... with absolutely the wrong side of Northampton. That one's no use. We need to be Kettering side of Northampton. So despite the chairs, that one's no use. This one's actually in Kettering. Oh, I tell you what, I think this is the one. This is in Kettering. Look at the size of it. On Hall Lane in Kettering. And we've got floor plans. We've got 4 double bedrooms. Looks lovely. Is that the front of the house? That looks like a back garden. It's not though, is it? It's just all the garages. Is there 4 garages for one house? That seems unnecessary. You've got, what is that, a fridge? An air conditioner maybe? Just randomly in the middle of the kitchen. We've got just 3 chairs on their own in what looks like a kitchen area. Big chair here. Oh, this is a nice house. I tell you what, this is a lovely house. This is where we're moving, boys and girls. There's the back. They've got garden chairs. This is massive. Is this how much you get? This, look, I could make my videos there. Is this what you get for your... They've got air conditioners in every room. Is this what 300 grand buys you in Kettering? Why would I ever leave this club? Why would I ever leave this area if I could live in this house? Quality of life stuff, boys and girls. We've moved up in the world. We've got a bigger Kettering house. So my new boys are in. B's and C's across the board, it looks like. Benny Ashley Seal, who's the striker, we added right at the end of the season there. Maybe not quite as good as initially thought. I mean, he's apparently better than Taylor Crossdale or McKendy, not quite up there at Spasov standards, though, which I guess nobody's going to be. But he's in. We get a B- for him. Adam Hayton as new goalkeeper. He's the 5th best goalkeeper at the club. Oh, my word. Shay Charles, new centre-back, 3-star current ability, is as good as Sean Hobson and Adam Senior. These players scouted better than they're getting coach reports, I think. Although, to be fair, Reece Bennett has come in, 4-star current ability. So he's come in a little bit better than anticipated and could well come in as our starting centre-back for next season. So he's a good one. These are always going to be a little bit hit and miss, these youngsters that you bring in. It's lucky they're cheap. Kean Breckham wasn't cheap, but luckily he wasn't a miss. He was so obviously going to be good. He's the best attacking midfielder we've got at the club, best central midfielder we've got at the club. Probably up there as, I was going to say, as an argument for best player at the club. Very good signing there. Radek Vitek looks like he can come in and be our new starting keeper. 18-year-old Czech goalkeeper, better than Brzezowski, better than everyone else we've got, which is very nice too. So we've got some good ones here. And then a couple of youngsters that might get there. Luke Chambers he's not quite Joe Dunn standard, so that suggests Joe Dunn, we can probably look at extending his loan, which we haven't done yet. And then Ollie Turner as another option in central midfield. He's there or thereabouts. He's as good as Wooten or Estrada with potential to get better. So I think on the whole, they're not terrible signings. What we're going to do now, while I welcome them in and give everybody a pat on the head and show them around the place while everyone else is on holiday, I'm just going to fiddle around extending a few contracts. I might look into extending those loans as well and basically get to the point where I'm pretty happy with the squad, know who's getting released, know who's getting a contract extension, and then I'll probably, unless something major happens, be back with you on the 1st of July for free transfer day, where we'll have a look at what we actually want to add to the squad and then go about adding them. That's the plan. Are we getting a new assistant manager here? Is that what this is? Terry Skiverton is going to be our new assistant manager by the looks of it. I've left as always, left my chairman or director of football or whoever it is to do the staff recruitment for me, because they usually do all right. And that looks like a pretty decent option as our new assistant manager. So we'll ask him to recommend a new signing, allocate him to do the training and all the stuff that John was doing before. And I will see you on the 1st of July. It's not the 1st of July, but it is recruitment meeting day. So let's have a look to see what my staff think we need to do. As you can see, we've extended a few contracts. We've bumped our wages up a little bit, but we've still got about half of our budget to spend. So it would be interesting to hear what they think we need to improve on. An attacking midfielder, bearing in mind the best player we've brought in is an attacking midfielder. Left winger, left wing back. Interesting. It's talking about players being in the final year of the contract, which I'm not that bothered about that, because we're only doing 1-year contracts, or we were until we got promoted. Now we've extended a few for a little bit longer. But let's see what kind of players we get recommended. So on the left wing, we're just going to scout these guys. The odds of me bringing in anybody on anything other than a free transfer are very slim. And the free transfers that are available now, there's going to be much less option than there will be on the 1st of July when players get released. I guess someone like him is probably getting released, so he's definitely worth a scout, but it looks like we're already scouting him. So, see, we're on top of these things. This isn't our first rodeo. We know the top talent that's being released because that's what we've been scouting all season. Just youngsters. It's pretty much all we scout, young players, because it's the cheap way to fill out a squad at this level. And then the good ones become your old experienced players if they stick around for a long time. The likes of, I don't know, Malden's an example of someone who's been in the club for 2 years now, who came in very young and is signing a contract extension and could potentially be here 4 or 5 years and become a more experienced, longer-serving player. Jerome Sinclair seems to be a player I sign in Non-League Legend every year, so well worth a trial. It's quite nice to get a bunch of trialists in at this stage, I guess. Normally I wouldn't have trialists in now, but I can't say I'm getting any real insight from this meeting that I hadn't already had myself. But we'll take the trialists. If any of them are any good, I'll show you them when we sign them. And we really will, unless something major happens. Be back on the 1st of July this time. So it is the 1st of July. The big news for the 1st of July is we've had an offer in for Zidane Iqbal, who was very much a fringe player for us last year. Started 23 games. We've signed a couple of midfielders already this summer. So at the moment, he's considered our 8th best centre mid. He's got potential for the future, which I guess is why Charlton are coming in for him. They originally offered a £37,000 up front, rising to 49.5. We've worked them up to 130,000 up front with a friendly and a 20% sell on. So to me, that's just sensible business. It's good money to bring in. We get to keep a third of that. So it's another 25, 30 grand to, I know it's right, I can't do maths, like 40 grand to go into the transfer kitty, which we're probably not going to need, but we're not going to play him. So let's cash in on him now. He's out of contract at the end of next season. If he wants to go, let him go. Let's not stand in the way of our young players. I'm sure it'll be a record sale for the club as well. Where are records? It's not. In fact, Andy Hunt to Newcastle in 1991 is the record sale at 150,000. We should have tried to push it beyond that. But yeah, I think it's a decent piece of business. It is the 1st of July. We've released a couple of players. If we just have a look at the released list, the significant ones are O'Brien and Brandy, who both played quite a few games. O'Brien played 29 games for his first half of last season. And Brandy was one of the star men, if not the star man of the National League North promotion side. But of course, not so much last year. Never got in the team after Connor Stanley arrived, and he has moved on. So this is what the club looks like before we bring in a whole load of trials. Oh, actually, ignore me. We did sign a player as well from those trialists. He's gone on last year's list, I guess. Oh no, these are released players. That's why I can't find him. So the final signing officially of last season, and smashing our normal wage structure at $2,500 a week, 2.6 grand a week. Barry McKay, 27 years old, Scotland international. He played once for Scotland. It counts. He can play anywhere across the attacking midfield three. I'm probably bringing him in to play on the left-hand side with Stanley on the right and Breckin as the guy in the middle. But it's good to have the flexibility for him to be able to play anywhere across that three. He's a 3-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability player. I'll level with you. He was showing us 4 stars, which is why I offered him that much money. But he's played a full season in League One last year. So if just for the experience of having done that, he's played all those games for Rangers. He's got plenty of experience, 250 games playing at a level higher than ours, including international football, and he's still only 27. So just based on that experience alone, it's worth splurging a bit of cash on him. And I think a lot of the signings from this point on are going to be for that kind of money, because we don't want to bring in another 15 players and we've got loads of spare wage budget. So we may as well pick and choose the ones that we think are going to be difference makers and bring them in on decent money. I don't know why this has switched to a 4-2-4, because I don't intend to play one. I think we'll probably stick the 4-2-3-1. And these are the 3-star players in those positions. So as strikers, Spasov, Taylor Crossdale and new boy Ashley Seal as our 3 strikers. I don't think we need another striker in. On the left, Robson really is going to be competing in the middle there, so I don't expect to see Robson out on the left. On the left, really, it's going to be out of McKendy and McKay, with Breckin and Robson as the attacking midfield too. And then on the right, Stanley, Roos, probably the 2 that we're looking at over there. Centre mid, you can ignore Breckin because he'll be playing further forward. Likewise, Spasov. So you're looking at Wooten, Payne and Turner in there. So maybe we need another central midfield player. And then at the back, Mayunga and Bennett as our starting centre-backs. We do still need another right-back. We probably need a left-back as well, although Stewart and Longalo will probably have something to say about that. And in goal, it's a coin flip between Brzezowski and Vitek. Probably wouldn't hurt to bring in a better goalkeeper over the top of both of them. But it's a very decent-looking squad that I think stands a decent chance of not getting relegated. The media prediction has us in 21st place, which we would absolutely take if it was offered to us now, because that means not getting relegated. But the job now is to bring in a whole load of free transfers, ruin the wage budget, and have some fun bringing in former Championship players and Premier League youngsters. That's the goal now. First round of free transfers is complete. 6 players in. I think they're all pretty good. Alfie Gilchrist is an 18-year-old centre-back, 3.5-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. He comes in from Chelsea. Aaron Skinner is another centre-back, 20 years old this time, a 5'9" centre-back. Don't expect him to be a centre-back for long. He's in to be a full-back or maybe a defensive midfield player, probably a full-back. 3.5-star current ability, 5-star potential again. This one in from Tottenham. We've then got Marcel Lavinia, who is a veteran of a previous series. I don't remember which series he was in, but I've definitely managed this boy before. I remember that name. He's a natural at both right back and left back. We've brought him in to be the right back. He can play anywhere up the right-hand side. He can play defensive midfield, centre-back. He's formerly of Tottenham and Chelsea, so some decent pedigree there. Owen Dodgson is a 19-year-old left-back, 3-star current ability, 5-star potential, in from Burnley, also formerly of Manchester United. And that, boys and girls, is an entire back 4 signed, as promised. And then we've also brought in some experience in midfield. Ben Fox is 24 years old. He's a central midfielder. He can also play right back or holding midfield, but we brought him in to be that box-to-box midfielder alongside Alfie Payne that I described. He's 24 with 3.5-star current ability, 4-star potential ability, has played a full season in League One for Burton previously, as well as picking up lots of games, primarily at Burton, but he's had a few loan spells as well. And then lastly, Robbie Benson is a 30-year-old Irish central midfielder who I signed on. I approached to sign as a bit of it's probably not going to go through because he needed a work permit. He's never played outside of Ireland before at 30 years old, but he scouted really well. He's as good as Fox or Payne or anybody else in central midfield, but he's also almost as good as Breckin as an attacking midfielder. And I just thought a little bit of experience, a little bit of something a little bit different, and can play in that holding midfielder role as well if we decide we need to switch that as the season goes on. So we went through with a deal that, like I say, it was a bit of a, we'll offer him a contract. He probably won't get a work permit. And then he did. So all of that means we've got about a spare. Oh, and by the way, we sold Iqbal. Iqbal did go to Charlton for £130,000, and also Sean Hobson has gone out on loan for the season to Sutton off the back of bringing in 2 new centre-backs, despite offering him a new contract earlier in the summer. Probably shouldn't have done that, but at least they're paying all of his wages. So we've got a little bit of extra money in the bank now, up to $830,000 on our balance. We've still got nearly £4,000 a week spare wage budget. We've got transfer budget to spend as well. And our team is looking pretty decent. As you can see, bringing in some of these players, Benson particularly, has downgraded the star rating of some of our other players. So if we knock that down to 2-star, just to get a few more of them back in, you can see there is plenty of options in various positions. But if we bump that up to what is our new 3-star, you can see that our defensive signings have fixed the issues that we had there. And I think we probably need to spend this last little bit of budget on fixing the new issues we've created further forward by doing all the upgrades further back. We could do with some more attacking players. So we'll look into that. Obviously, if we're still kind of on the lookout for a goalkeeper as well, if we find a really good one. And I mean, who knows? Who knows what I'm going to bring in? But we are going to bring in a batch more trials. And of course, we've not even looked at loans yet. So we could potentially fill some of these gaps with some loan signings as well. It is the 18th of July, and I think I'm done. We signed a couple more players. Ryan Finnegan is a 17-year-old central midfielder who can play anywhere up the middle, 3-star, current ability, 5-star or 4.5-star potential. He's in from Southampton. We've also signed Harry Forster on loan from Rochdale for the rest of the season. We're making no wage contribution. He's just an extra body for those wide attacking areas on both sides. And we've sent a lot of our boys from last year out on loan just really to keep the wage bill down for players who were going to be fringe players this year. But that we didn't necessarily want to sell. So Hobson had already gone, joining him, Carvalho, Agbontohoma, Max Shaw, who's one of our youngsters, Estrada, Malden, and Sean Stewart, all of which means we're on a net transfer profit because of the Zidane Iqbal deal. And I think my squad is just about done with us nearly £6,000 a week under our wage budget. It means we're going to have flexibility to bring players in as the season goes on if we need to. But I'm looking at the squad and I can keep adding players, and I don't think it's going to be making hugely significant difference. Apparently Carvalho is our best left winger and is not at the club. Let's just take him off there so we don't have to think about that. And we could still do with a real top level left winger. I have no idea what's gone on with Barry McKay, who we're paying $2,500 a week to. Why my coaches have decided they don't like the look of him, I guess we'll find out, but I'm still thinking he's our left winger. Connor Stanley on the right, and then Breckin or Benson in the middle with Spasov up front, and then Payne plus Breckin or Benson in central midfield, and Mayunga, Bennett, Chambers, Fox, and Vitek or Brzezowski in goal. It looks to me like a side good enough to stay up. The media seem to agree because we've gone from a 21st place prediction up to a 14th place prediction based on the transfers that we've made. 25-1 for promotion. If I was allowed, I'd stick a fiver on because you never can tell. But I won't say goodbye right now because we've got another week or so, 10 days, week and a half before the season starts. So anything could happen between now and then. who knows what could come up on the scout report. This guy could be amazing, for example. But that's literally all I'm doing now. I'm not going out searching for anyone particularly. I'm just checking scout reports as they come in, offering trials to player who need trials. A really good loan comes up, then I'll offer them a loan. And if I can't get them for nothing, I'm probably not going to bring them in because I don't really trust my scouts. Because if we go to our scouted players, I had it sorted by ability. That youngster we've just brought in who's showing us 2.5 star was the second best player on here. He was showing us having 4.5 star current ability. So I don't trust any of these numbers anymore. So I'm not touching any of this lot unless they're free. That's the one good thing about the one we just brought in. He's not cost us anything, so it doesn't matter. This guy, don't feel the need to sign him. We've got loads of potential. We want players who've got current ability and potential. So I'm just going to keep hitting continue until we get to the first day of the season, and then we'll pick that up tomorrow. And that brings us to the end of the transfer window. No more business was done. I am really happy with that summer. I guess we'll find out tomorrow how good a summer it actually was, but I think we've strengthened in the areas we needed to strengthen. We've retained the real key players that we needed to retain. This is the team that's looking like starting the first game of the season, and we unfortunately picked up an injury to Breckin, so he can't start in midfield for us. So young Ryan Finnegan will play as the attacking midfielder with Payne and Benson in the middle together, but I think that looks like a really, really good side. We've upgraded the players around Mayunga to get a proper defence in there. We've now got an attacking right back, so we can switch the midfield and the whole team around a little bit. Have us attacking down this side on the overlap, allows McKay to be attacking on this side using his strengths. We've switched the box-to-box midfielder and the deep line playmaker over, so Alfie Payne can stay in that role. He's left-footed. Benton is left only, so it makes sense to keep him on that side as the box-to-box. I think it's a good side. We'll find out tomorrow whether I'm right or not. Let me know down in the comments what you think of the summer. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.